So when we talk about marriage equality in these days, and it's very much in the news, one thing that's very important to understand is that we're talking about civil marriage and not religious marriage. The United States is the only Western nation that does not separate the two. Every place else, in Western Europe, in the rest of North America, and in many other places around the world, people have always the right to have a civil marriage, which is done with a representative of the state. This can be a justice of the peace, this can be a judge, anybody like that. In other countries, there is then the option to have also a religious ceremony, but it does not hold any legal value at all. So in those countries, you always have your civil ceremony first, and then if you choose, you go to the church, or the synagogue, or the temple, and you have your religious ceremony there. In the United States, I think since the beginning of the country, the people that represented the churches that performed ceremonies have been also given the sanction by the state of the individual states in which they reside and practice to perform this marriage. This is why the end of the ceremony, the officiant's words are always, "And by the power invested in me in the state of New York, I now pronounce you." That doesn't happen anywhere else in the world except for the United States. So Americans, when they talk about marriage equality, sometimes don't realize that there is this enormously important separation between the civil marriage and a religious marriage. And religious marriage is a very different, very complex question, rightly so, because of the differences of religious beliefs, the different religions that we have in the country, people that do not have a religion. Because marriage equality is not recognized by the United States yet, there are a variety of things that married gay couples, still cannot be sure that they're safe. For example, people that are married in the state of New York, or that have been married elsewhere because the state of New York does recognize same-sex marriages that were done elsewhere. If that couple is traveling in a state where that marriage is not recognized and does not exist in its own right, if something should happen, if there should be an accident in that state, and one of the partners is badly injured and has to go to hospital, depending on the hospital administrator's principles, it is their decision whether or not the partner, the partner who's not affected, has any right to any decisions that might have to be made, and therefore would go to what is considered to be the next of kin. It's not while your partner's in ICU in a coma that you want to be gathering paper, looking for lawyers, and those kinds of things always take an awful lot of time, and these decisions have to be made urgently. That's just one example where if you were married and the marriage was recognized by the federal government, that there would be no more question. And there are hundreds of other situations, not to mention Social Security benefits, IRS situations, naturalizations.